I don't know you, and you don't know me. Yet. But one thing you and I both know. Somehow you found this page because you want out. Out of your current financial situation. Out of living paycheck to paycheck. Out of struggling to pay the bills. Out of the 9 to 5 grind. Out of long rush hour traffic. Out of your job. Out of whatever is holding you back from making more money in a month than 99.99% of the rest of the world makes in a year. You're in luck if any of the above is you, because you just somehow landed on the one single page that may have the answer to all of those problems. I would know, because I created a high-powered software program that actually forced me to profit in a world that doesn't involve gaming Google with auto-bloggers or spinning endless articles into a massive web of worthless content that nobody cares about. This software taps into a little-known but astronomical source of traffic that only the most elite super affiliates know about and unleashes unlimited money-making potential. How much money? It's entirely up to you. The beauty is the software works for you. You're not glued to your computer 24/7 manning the ship to be in the money. Once you install it and turn it on, let it go to work for you. So you're free to go out and eat or shop, free to be a lazy couch potato, free to get addicted to video games, free to do whatever you want, whenever you want. And this software does not tire. It does not call in sick. It works hard no matter what. Period. In fact, it's only going to work harder and faster. And it's definitely not like anything you have ever seen before. It's not AdWords or media buys. It's not Yahoo Answers Bing or JVing. It's not articles or blogging or auto-blogging. It's not RSS garbage or social media, SEO. It's not anything you have seen before. Honestly, if you like spending a lot of time and money just to make no money, then this isn't up your alley. This is really for someone who is serious about making a lot of money and having the time to enjoy it. I'm about to piss off a lot of people, and there's a good chance I'll become public enemy number one. You see, I used to work for the leading online payment processor in the world, or you may know them as PayPal. To many in this industry, they're a necessary evil, because they make accepting online payments fast and easy. But they also have been known to make life really hard for a lot of marketers. Yeah, I started working at PayPal when they were just a fledgling little startup in Palo Alto, California. Back then, there were only a handful of us, and I was one of their very first software engineers. And my job? Well, this is where the hate for me will probably boil up inside for so many people. My job was to create the software that froze PayPal accounts. Ever logged into your own PayPal account and seen this? Yeah, I was the guy that built and implemented the software they used to limit, freeze, and close accounts. And I can understand if you're one of the people that this has happened to, how you might want to stab me in the eyeballs. Honestly, I hated what I did too, so I can't blame you. I mean, my job was to build the software that took people's money away from them. Sometimes it just felt dirty, and most days I could barely force myself to get out of bed and commute to the office. I was constantly staring at millions of dollars in cash. Doing what I did at PayPal, I heard all the gossip and all the dirt in the office. And one of the constant topics of that gossip was the big money players that had high 6 figures, even 7 figures sitting in their PayPal accounts. That's right, huge amounts of cash, just sitting in their accounts, waiting for them to spend it on God knows what. And yet, here I was, an office drone, a slave to the 9 to 5 and a brutal commute. Not flat-ass broke, but with a new kid and a wife at home, definitely paycheck to paycheck just to make ends meet. And man, sometimes we were stretched thin. That's not a problem anymore though, because my software has catapulted me out of paycheck to paycheck and into high 6 figures a year, with months like this every single month. If you're stretched thin right now, if you're beyond thin and into the red ink, even if you're doing okay but just want to get free, free from your job, free from your boss, free to live life on your terms, because after all, you, your family, you deserve that, don't you? Imagine your bank account always flush with cold hard cash. All your bills are paid on time, and the fat chunk of money in your bank account is yours to do whatever you please. Imagine rolling up to the ATM at your bank, and after all your bills are paid up, you've got an extra chunk sitting there for whatever your heart desires. Imagine yourself getting money like me, 4- and 5-figure deposits weekly. Not from checks that take forever to clear, not from PayPal payments that could be frozen at any time, assuming they are even sent to you at all, but wired right into your bank account, in spendable money that you have instant access to. And what if you didn't have to work for any of those 4- and 5-figure weekly wires, because you had the only software that brings you money? Well, that would just change everything, wouldn't it? I mean, no more running off to some job in the morning. No more getting home late, too exhausted to do anything but maybe watch some TV before finally crashing out, only to wake up and do it all over again the next day. No more answering to some boss you don't like. No more worrying about paying the bills, much less paying them on time. And if you wanted to make more money because you wanted to buy an expensive car, a new house, or take a bunch of vacations to exotic locales all over the world, you just crank up your software and let it do its thing. If you want 4-figure or 5-figure wires weekly and the time to enjoy it, then you need to stop. Stop trying to SEO or trying to blog. Stop trying to PPC. Stop trying to create products and stop trying to JV those products. Stop buying every new next big thing. And above all else, stop learning. Yep, stop learning. Stop going from one method to the next and then on to the next, always learning, never finishing, never succeeding. The chance is here for you right now to put all that behind you and go from learning mode to turbocharged earning mode. Hey, I'm Steven Rounds, the ex-PayPal guy. I used to work a horrible 9-to-5 job where I essentially kept people from their money. Just getting out of bed and driving to the office each day was a soul-crushing experience. Made even worse by the fact that I was barely getting by, living paycheck to paycheck. Not anymore, though. Now I'm living my dream. Now I'm able to drive around all day long in my brand new Camaro. Now I travel all over the place vacationing whenever I please. Now I never worry about bills or money. Now my family is taken care of the way I want to take care of them. Yes, now I'm living my dream. And now you could be living the way you always knew you should too. It wasn't that long ago I was working at PayPal and barely making ends meet. My job was to create and implement the system-wide fraud protection software that limited and froze people's PayPal accounts, literally keeping them from their money. Honestly, it sucked. I hated it. It's bad enough having to wake up for a job every day. It just gets worse when it's a job that makes you sick to your stomach. And then, of course, there was one more element that was fueling my misery. Nearly every time somebody told me about a little piece of code that was broken, they also felt the need to tell me about some guy who was waiting on his $500,000 transaction. I just kept hearing about an account with $400K in it, or one with $600,000 in it, or one with over $1 million, just sitting there. It seemed like every week I was hearing about some account that was jammed with more money than any of us could even fathom. It began ruling my mind. I couldn't stop thinking about those accounts stuffed full of millions of dollars. What were these people doing? One day, I hit the ATM to grab some cash for my lunch break. The balance was low. It was near Christmas, and man, I don't know, something just hit me. What the was I doing? I was busting my butt 9 to 5 every single day, working and working. And what was the payoff? The payoff was I literally had a few bucks to my name. Christmas was right around the corner, and I was stressed out wondering how I was going to buy Christmas presents for my family and pay my bills on time too. It just didn't seem fair to say to my wife, "Merry Christmas, the electric bill was paid." Sure, my wife appreciates the bills getting paid on time. But to say that was her Christmas gift? Well, not exactly my ideal gift to her. All throughout the day, I didn't talk to a soul. I went home, still quiet. And on into the late night and early morning, I just sat by myself, thinking. There had to be a better way. This couldn't be it. I did all the right things. I went to college, chose the growing field of computer science, went to work for a company with benefits and all that. My career was based around something I did love, which was software, but it just wasn't working. None of it was working. And then just as the TV flipped into infomercial time, you know, when it's so late that nothing else is on, it occurred to me. If I could create the software for my employer that took the money away, then I had little doubt I could create a software program that brings the money to me. Epiphany time. I had engineered a program that could take money away in an instant. Now I was ready to build a program that brought money in just as quickly. When you're a programmer, everything can be solved with math. And I mean everything. There is no problem in the world that can't be solved with math. So all I needed to do was figure out first where the money was at. And once I knew, creating the software to bring it to me would be a matter of zeros and ones, and some stealth and extremely powerful code. But to address the problem at hand, where was the money? What were all those guys doing that had high six figures and seven figures laying around in their PayPal accounts? I had to find that out first. I had to enter through the back door to find out who these big money guys were and where the money was coming from. To get started, I was going to have to not use my programming skills. I needed one website address to start finding the money with the software. So I invited one of the reps I talked to with most to lunch. The one that would usually tell me about these accounts with all the funds in them. The PayPal accounts with the high six and even seven figures. And I said, just one website address. No names, no identification, no personal details. Just give me one website address. It took some convincing, some real convincing, but I got that one address. That one that started it all for me. I went home that night and began to code. I programmed all night. Called in sick the next day and kept on programming. Red Bull, coffee, cigarettes. They were my fuel to keep me going. I coded until my fingers and joints were sore. This was a hardcore programming session. First, I would need to use what programmers call brute force. In my world, the world of zeros and ones, code and programmers, brute force is letting a program do the heavy lifting. It's about the computer doing the thinking for you. I wanted the computer to think for me. I wanted to find out all the information about that website it could, the number of visitors per month, the demographic details, and most importantly, the sites that people went to before they went to that one, and the sites they went to after they left it. With this information, I could find out who was sending these guys all that money and where all these people with that money were coming from. And that is exactly what happened. Over the next several days, my brute force program had spied on and gathered very specific details about several websites that would hopefully tell me where the money was. Once I began to pour into the data, however, I was disappointed with the initial results. You see, most of these guys, it was kind of shocking. They were making a ton of money, yeah, but they were making it through creating and selling how-to stuff, info products, and sure, they had fancy screenshots from PayPal on their sites showing off their earnings. It's just that the only way they were making their cash was by creating these products and then all cross-promoting one another. Which is fine, I guess, but unless you're in their circle and have the time and cash to create your own product, it's pretty pointless to even try that. There was one site, one guy, however. His data stood out amongst all the others. This guy was getting more traffic to his site than all the others combined. All from just a few sources, and from sources I had never heard of before. He was crushing it. I mean blistering levels of traffic that were nearly incomprehensible. So I turned my attention to him and him alone. I began to focus only on what he was doing. What were his sites? Where was his money? And what I discovered from this was that there was a select group of super affiliates generating unheard levels of traffic from sources nobody else even knew about. And they were banking hard just through selling other people's products online. And they weren't getting paid by PayPal. They weren't waiting for checks to arrive in the mail or clear their banks. They were getting wire transfers sent directly to their bank accounts. Electronic cash available instantly. And so much of it that they probably couldn't spend it all in a lifetime if they wanted to. I had finally found the money. And now I just needed to make it come to me automatically. My stealth software had unearthed a playground for wealthy super affiliates. They were getting server-crushing levels of traffic from a handful of sources and cashing in on other people's products to the tune of millions of dollars a month. These traffic sources, nobody else even knew they existed. And with them, the traffic seemed unlimited, unending. Now that I had this intel, I needed to develop the software that would harness this traffic and literally bring the money to me automatically. First, it was time to spec this beast out. And yes, it was a beast just to create the specs. After all, this wouldn't be just some simple program. No, this software would be my own cash magnet, and it would be complicated to build. But it needed to be easy to use, and it needed to automate everything. For days I worked on Specs alone. I worked on it every waking moment and poured my soul into it, as this just might be my life's masterpiece. When I was finally done, it looked like something out of an atlas, which is appropriate, I guess, since it was a map to money. I knew I needed a team of hardcore power coders, coders that could take my vision and make it a tangible reality. I wasn't too far removed from Silicon Valley, the world's hotbed of elite programmers, hackers, and coders. But the real coders, the power guys, they weren't out in plain sight. You couldn't just yellow page or Google these dudes. They were hidden, they kept to themselves, and they could only be found through a place called the Den. I tapped into some contacts that knew people from the Den. Yeah, it was one of those types of deals. You had to know people that know people, etc., etc. And finally, after weeks of backroom introductions, I got this text message on my iPhone from one of the best underground coders in the area. Him and his little entourage could work magic with software. It was on. $20,000 for the crew that could make the impossible my reality. Don't ask me how I got it. I'm not proud of it. I had to do a lot of begging and borrowing to make it happen. But I delivered the money to the coders. The power coders that were about to make the impossible my new reality. And along with the money, I gave them my requirements. This software had to create money-sucking web pages on the fly, funnel my new traffic sources into only the profitable web pages, and then extract the cash profits, all automatically and easily without breaking any laws. And of course, I needed it to be so easy to implement that it could be done in under half an hour. So, I waited. Out of the blue pops up a message on IRC, the preferred instant messenger service of geeks, hackers, and power coders. It was done. I got set to meet the coders on Friday to see my new software. I was so excited I couldn't sleep for the next couple of days. Finally, Friday rolls around and I get out to our meeting place to pick up my new program. I walk in and the head of the crew hands me $5,000 in cash. He says, "Here's $5,000 back. It's a little less than what we made while testing the software this week." My jaw hit the floor. $5,000 in a week just playing around? I handed it back to him. "Keep it, you earned it." Then I grabbed the disk with my new software and sped home. Of course, I loaded it up, installed it, flicked the switch on my traffic sources, and set it to begin extracting money. And I set it to run for a week. I promised myself I wouldn't keep checking on it. I would just let it do what it was supposed to do, extract cash profits. So, for a week I did everything I could to stay away from the house and my computer. Finally, 7 days after I launched the software, I finally logged in to see what had happened. Fingers crossed and double-crossed, and there it was. A nice fat wire to my bank account for over $8,400. Yes! I had a wire sent straight to my bank account for over $8,400 in instant spendable cash. This is more money than I would make in several months with my old job. And since this was just the first week, I knew I had to throttle things up a bit. This time I set the software to run for 2 weeks and let it roll. So I did just that, and 2 weeks later I logged into my accounts again. And there was another $18,546.75 wired straight to my account. Now things were getting good. So I did this over and over and over again, making tweaks, adding twists, implementing tactics, and the results just kept getting better and better. 4-figure weekly wires, 5-figure weekly wires. My software just kept bringing me more and more money. I had accomplished what I set out to do. At one time, I was the guy that created software for PayPal to keep money from people. And now, well, now I had created software that brought it in. And brought it in by the thousands or tens of thousands of dollars. And all of it automatically, without a list, without a product, without even a website of my own. To siege is to conquer. And this new money-sucking software would be called Profit Siege. Let the conquering begin. Yes, with this software and my exact methods for turning these unknown traffic wells into cash at the flip of the switch. Instantly spendable cash that is deposited straight to the bank. You too might be able to get all of this. Money, freedom, and the time to do whatever you please, whenever you please. It could be yours if you succeed like I did. The Profit Siege system and software has the potential to work hard for you. You don't need to become a desk jockey and waste away your days at the computer. You install it, set it up, turn it on, and it takes it from there. And this software does not tire. It does not call in sick. It works hard no matter what, period. In fact, it's only going to work harder and faster. Like it did for Vinny, who came to me flat broke and needing money desperately just before Christmas. I felt bad, so I told him, I'll help you make $5K this week. Vinny took the software and my methods and made $6,135.50. The cash was in his bank later that week. Now, as you might imagine, Vinny has a new lease on life and makes money whenever he wants to, as much as he wants. You know, one of the very last things my dad ever said to me was, don't live with regrets. Go after everything you want with everything you got. He knew that regret is a dirty word. Will you live with regret? You might. You might have to if you don't seize the opportunity in front of you. Because I'm handing you the reins to the Profit Siege software that goes out and seeks money and can deposit it right to the bank in the form of instantly spendable cash. I'm also giving you the exact step-by-step tactics that I have developed over the past year which accelerated my income. Even if you've never made a cent online, even if you have no website, even if you have no list, even if you have no experience whatsoever. How about the next time you roll up to your bank ATM that's jammed with cash? You finally have the thrill of always being flush with cash. No overdrawn bank balances, no negative accounts. Just big old accounts with as much cash as you can imagine. And of course, with Profit Siege, there's zero waiting for checks to be mailed. There's zero waiting for checks to clear. There's no PayPal payments to worry about. It's all cash, straight to the bank. Finally, the amount of money you make every day, it's in your hands. You control it all. I explain everything. I give you the same methods that net me more money in a week than 99.99% of the world makes in months. I hand you my powerful software that automatically funnels cash profits directly to you. There's no questions unanswered. There's no stone unturned. If there was any question, it would only be this. How do you value something so powerful that it might put you into a new tax bracket? I have been trying like heck to figure that out. How do you place a value on a tool that can change your life like this? First, I thought I would see if I could find anything comparable. Kind of like real estate. When you want to know the value of a house, you see what other houses in the neighborhood sell for. When I told you there is no other software like mine, well, I was eventually able to find one. One other program that does some of what mine does. Not everything, but some of it. And here's how they value that. $297 for 1 year of use, and then $147 every year thereafter. You stop paying, you lose access. Period. Here you can see their current annual subscription form. My software is a tax bracket changer, and if I wanted to, I could follow their lead and go with an annual subscription too. But I won't. In my days at PayPal, I hated taking money away from people. Now I want to give it back. I want to atone, if you will. So, I'm going to let you have my software and the actual methods that I have personally milked for up to $35,000 a month as a super affiliate. All of it for just $47. I'm going to let you have access to the entire step-by-step Profit Siege training and my killer tax bracket changing software for just $47. Sure, it's worth a lot more, but as of right now, $47 and you're in. No monthlies, just the one-time payment. And look, either you love it or I'll buy it back. I know once you get inside Profit Siege, you'll wish you had this when you first started out and had been able to avoid all your previous attempts at making money online. But you don't even have to decide right now. Get it today, put my methods and software to work for you for a full 60 days. If for any reason at all you decide it's not for you, simply email me for a zero-hassle refund in full. That's my promise to you. Now, I'm not exactly known for my interpersonal skills, so if you're easily offended, you may not want to hear this part. I'm a programmer. We're not exactly known for our interpersonal skills. We're the type of people that would rather put our noses into zeros and ones and code in front of our computer for hours a day than actually have to talk or verbally communicate with people. We like numbers and math, because numbers and math are always honest and don't BS like so many people seem to. Which means when I do say something, it's often short, quite blunt and to the point. So if you're easily offended or like things all candy-coated, then you probably shouldn't bother listening to what I'm about to say. Still with me? Okay, good. So listen. $47 puts the exact methods I personally use to make upwards of $35,000 a month into your hands. This isn't theory or ideas or concepts. This is actual proven methods and tactics, step by step. And the software I built to harness the unlimited traffic of my secret sources and automatically suck in the money. It cost me over $20,000 in cash to build. Of course, I'm including that for you too. This is the same legit and easy to use system I use to get blistering amounts of website traffic and money. If you'll let a totally risk-free $47 stand in the way of that, well, then you're not ready to make a lot of money yet. Period. But if you're smart, if you know that $47 is a tiny drop in the bucket to make an easy 6 figures a year, then this is for you. Start right now and you could be cashing in today. Listen, you can hate me for who I used to be, the PayPal guy that created the software that froze accounts. Or you can love me for who I am today, the guy that wants to help you leave your 9 to 5 and change your life and your tax bracket too. Go ahead and click the download now button right now and finally take control. Now you can control when you make money. You just got to get started. I'll see you on the inside.